Welcome to West USA Weekly, the podcast, your go-to source for everything real estate in Phoenix, Arizona. We're breaking down market trends, local insights, and the moves that matter most to Valley agents. Interviews, tips, and the latest from one of Arizona's top brokerages, all in one place. Let's dive in.
Good morning, West USA. Welcome to another edition of our Monday morning podcast, where I'm sporting my new West USA 40-year anniversary ball cap, and I look like a gangsta.
Hey, it looks awesome in gray, man. It's awesome.
Okay, you don't look like a gangster. You look good though in the hat. So I do appreciate you sporting the hat. If you do like the hats, then you see them out in the offices, please reach out to your office manager and you can get yourself one.
All right. Well, anyways, yeah, it's comfy, looks good, and
They are really comfy. Yeah.
hey, let's go golfing right now.
Yes, let's go.
All right. A little sneak peek of what we got coming up today. Of course, we've got Todd Menard here to give us a look at the number. Justin Frederick's in the house. He's going to give us our Mortgage Minute update. And then we're going to go over 3 summer marketing strategies. And then we got Ron Quain here from American Title. We're going to talk about what's new in the title world. We're going to talk about fraud, fingerprints, and all kinds of good stuff. So with that being said, if you got any comments or questions, please feel free to email us at podcast@westusa.com. All right, now let's just jump into the announcements. Unlock the power of 1031 tax exchanges. So that's a big class coming up here this week, May 18th, between 12 and 1 p.m. 1031s, you gotta know them. There's so many going on right now. And as always, all of our classes can be found on the calendar. Just go to your dashboard, click on calendar, and you can get signed up. And if you're not with West USA, just go to westusacalendar.com. All right, Canva and ChatGPT coming up. That is coming up Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Goodyear office. All right, and I just learned last night ChatGPT isn't. Yeah, it's going to take over the world. We're going to all be dead soon.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Happy Monday, everybody. Let's strap in for a great podcast.
I'm down. My kids, they're messed up. All right, Todd's got a virtual CE class this Wednesday from 9 to 12 p.m., 3 hours of contract law. All right, we got a lunch and learn, net settlement sheets, AI, and sales skills. So, man, you're going to learn it all. Wow. You're going to walk away from this class well-versed. That's going to be at the Scottsdale office, May 21st from 11 to 1:30 p.m. All right, Todd, take it away. What's going on in the market?
I thought there were going to be a lot more announcements. This is a announcement
We're
day.
trying to purge some of these announcements. We have a lot of announcements. And
Well, that's good. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm so used to doing it on Zoom. I'm like trying to introduce myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Todd Menard.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Today, we're going over the Greater Phoenix Metro Market statistics for the week ending May 18th, 2026. Let's see what we got. 77 days closed on market this past week. A month's supply of 4.02. Absorption rate was at 24.88. Average list price this past week, $781,093. Average sale price this past week, $634,218. And our list price to sale price retention came in at 97.03. Active inventory, pretty flat, 26,508 available properties. Pending is sitting at 4,709, and closed units for the month to date at 1,515. Looking at new listings, 2,142 taken this last week, a little lighter than we have been experiencing over the last few weeks. Days on market for active is at 92 and closed at 75. Lower left-hand side, as we have our price ranges. This again during the week is our active inventory during the month. When we do month end, this switches to month end closed inventory by price range. So the red indicates that these are the only 2 portions of the market or segments of the market that contracted over this past week, which is meaning that each market is still, as far as inventory is concerned, has plenty of property. Looking at the spreadsheet, as we always do, 2,400 is what we're looking for. 2,142 is what we had this past week, 2,479 the week before. So, we did have an inventory issue this week where we just barely replaced what we had. 2,092 new listings last year, the same period, 1,900. So you can see that even though we're reporting that it was less this week versus last week, we always want to look at those 2 center columns to just see what was it like last year, this same time frame. And it's always a good reference. 26,508 is the active. That's 577 of those are in the coming soon category. There is 19,922 single family non-distressed, 2,057 and that should say single family up there. New home construction is 2,057, and non-distress, there we go, 25,991. Looking at the under contract accepting backup offers, the pending, the contingency sale markets, we're sitting at 4,709, down about 200 units. And what this basically means is we have approximately 200 buyers less than we had week over week. But again, that's 500. Look, the last year we had 4,336, about 4,300 the year before that. So, we've got more buyers by far. We've been talking about that being a 400 to 500 units, 400 to 500 more buyers in the market right now than we've had for the last 2 years. Looking at closed inventory for the month to date, we're at 3617. We were at 1515 last week. We were at 3685 last year. So we're just under a little bit of where we were last year, same time. Looking at month supply, we're at 4.02. So again, if we're under, and when I tell everybody, hey, we're in a buyer's market, seller's market, Mike and I love to volley on that. But when we talk about that, what we're talking about is just rules of thumb. So we're saying that your market in Chandler may be different than the market in Peoria. Maybe it could be that, pick a community specifically over there. Anderson Springs maybe is even different than the Southeast Valley. So you as the agent, you matter more than I do, than anybody does, than Lawrence Young does at National, because you can do these numbers for yourself in your own communities that you do business. And there is nobody, and I'll say this 100 times, you can control your marketplace if you know the statistics in the market in where you're doing business. So that being said, again, 4 months supply. It really is indicative. We are in a seller's market, but that could be, again, by community, by area. But as far as the overall MLS is concerned, that's the number. We look at median, which is the bottom number here, 470. We were talking about that bouncing back and forth, 458, 470, 460. We're still looking to see that number, come down just a little bit. Looking at days on market for sold, as we said, 77. If we're in that 70 price range, we're doing really, really, really well. And I think that's the most important thing to take into consideration is what's really well. Well, way over on the left-hand side, all the way up to the top, it says ROT. That means rules of thumb. In the last 5 years, I've gone in and I've taken an average of the market in each market segment for each of the years of the last 5 years. And so these are the averages. 2,400 is what we're expecting for new homes, for new listings taken, 5,500 buyers in the marketplace. Scroll down to 2.5 to 3 months supply is really the sweet spot. We're not going to get there. There's not enough buyers in the marketplace. When we get up to 5,500 buyers in the marketplace, then the 2.5 to 3 will be the rule. But right now, if we can be close to 3, somewhere in the 3s, mid 3s, I think that would be really good. 70 days closed on market is the number to the left in the red box. And then, of course, 97.8% is the list price to sale price retention, meaning historically over the last 5 years, the average seller at the time they accepted the buyer's offer, not the original list price, at the time they accepted the buyer's offer, there was a 2.2% negotiation on that transaction. So if we go into the marketplace not anticipating that we're going to put an offer in at least 2%, or if you're a listing agent and you're not buffering your seller to be able to realize that there's going to be historically a 2.2% negotiation off whatever price they're at the time they get their final offer. And it could be right away, but it could be weeks, months later. That would be ignorant of us. And then, of course, that number taken into consideration along with the number, the concessions, seller concessions are really where the transaction is negotiated. That's what you do. When we say you negotiate on behalf of your buyer, you're really not negotiating. What you're doing is you're finding out what the buyer's position is, and then you're coming to the table strategizing and packaging your buyer in that transaction appropriately, so that you got to know the seller's probably going to want to take a trim somewhere, but you anticipate that 2.2% as well. So those are the numbers for this week, Mike.
All right, good stuff. Seems like slowed down a little bit. A little interesting.
Yeah, a little bit slower.
Didn't feel like it, but
no, it doesn't.
But
we're going back
nonetheless.
Yeah.
All right, maybe
hey guys.
I think it was Justin's fault.
Oh yeah, it was. All right, so
Yes, Justin, this is where you take over.
good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so we had a rough week last week. We had 2 inflation reports come out last week. Inflation was higher than expected, and so we saw quite movement on mortgage rates with that inflation. Now, keep in mind this has a lot to do with oil over in the Middle East. Once we get control of that or figure out where we're going to get more of our oil from, don't understand why we haven't really gotten more from Venezuela at this point. But they were talking that the Panama Canal is backed up with tankers trying to get through there now. So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, the good news is we're still, mid 6s. Last year at this time we were in the 7s, so we're in a good spot. All right, so today we're going to talk about this. We've been having a wave of agents asking us how to talk to nervous buyers. How can we get on the same page with each other? So this is kind of what we do in our office, and I feel like if you have a buyer that is nervous and you need our help to build confidence, let's have a conversation up front with the team. Let's build a game plan together. And let's figure out a plan of attack for each one of your clients, because a lot of times buyers they know they need to purchase. Mm-hmm. We're not pushing them into something. We're just helping them get through their issues. So one of the biggest questions is now a good time to buy.
Yes.
Give them a clean response. It's a good time if it fits your life, your budget, and your timeline. Not the market headlines, right? I mean, Mike, we talk about this all the time.
Something I don't know why, but in my car, I got the Apple Play, right? Mm-hmm. And for years, it just whatever I was listening to last just pops up. Now, also in the last 2 weeks, for some reason, my podcast app pops up, and it's just you and I talking about the same thing every time I get into my car. And I gotta turn it off and get back to my music.
I love it.
That's how the consumers feel. Not just kidding.
It takes the pressure off and it takes the pressure off of them to predict the market. I mean, there's no way nobody's got a crystal ball. We can do our best guess, but nobody's got a crystal ball. Get the home. Refinance when things get better.
I think it starts with I've worked, especially during COVID and all that stuff. Whereas I work with agents that aren't confident in the market. Mm-hmm. And if you as an agent aren't confident in the market, and the question would be is if you could, would you buy? And if you say no, then I would say go back and do some homework and understand the market. But if you're not confident about the market, good luck.
Your buyers aren't going to be confident about the market.
Exactly. Right. Send them my way.
Yeah.
I'll make them confident.
That's a good thing too, Mike. Remember years ago we used to always say, hey, every Friday, set up your MLS to be able to automatically send you what the least expensive 3-bedroom home is in your market, what the least expensive 4-bedroom home is, what's the, and build your way up, because that's really, if you have the market knowledge and you know what products out there, what builders are offering, the right incentives, or not, that is really where it starts, because everybody really, I think, would like to be a homeowner. They just don't realize how to package it, how to make it happen. And so, Justin, perfectly, that I like that. It's a good time if it fits your life, it fits your budget. That's
Timeline,
not really telling them what the market is.
Correct.
It's saying, is this the right time for you? And then the other thing is just help them with their finances. That's really what it boils down to. At the very, very end, it's how much money do I actually need to close this darn thing? And most agents don't want to have that. They want to dance around that.
Yep.
That's why they have fallouts.
Correct. Next one, how to handle, this is supposed to say price reductions, conversations. So when your buyer pushes, there's a lot of buyers right now that is just trying to go out and get ridiculously low with the purchase prices. Is the goal to get the best deal or the right house? Maybe you can get a little bit of both, but do you want to walk away from that perfect house just because you're trying to offer a low price and the home's been on the market for one day? So help refocus on the outcome.
You get one
versus just the price, right?
You get one. If you want to play the low ball game and you're not going to listen to me because you think this is how it goes, I'll write one up.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we're going to see how quickly we get shut down, and we're going to go back and now have another conversation. But I'll do it once.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. One time is great. That's great. They get to learn from that. And if they didn't learn from it, you know what's going to happen from there. How to create urgency without pressure. If the home checks your boxes, the risk isn't overpaying, it's losing it and starting over. It kind of goes back to the last one, but they need to know you take the risk of losing this property if you're going to come in low, right? It's honesty. It's not pushy. How to work with analytical buyers. I love this one. You got to work with them how they are, right? So your approach is to give them structure. They need structure. They have to have it. Give them a pros and cons list of the homes, a ranking system. I have these conversations with buyers of our agents, right? I'm like, you're so confused. Make a list, pros and cons, and then rank them for me. Tell me, and then they figure it out themselves. I love they sell themselves on this. I love the analytical buyer.
We used to name the properties when we'd get in the car,
Yeah.
and it typically was what the consumer hated about that particular property or really liked about it.
Right.
And then we tried to create something funny like, oh, that was a house with a bad backyard. Remember, it was blue, or
Yeah.
something. And they just, and then when it got back time to make the decision, it was easier for them.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it helps them process instead of stall and question themselves. How to guide buyers through trade-offs. If you can't get everything, what matters most? The location, the price, the conditions. It forces prioritization. So those are just a few things. What I'm trying to get out here to you guys is have a conversation with your lender. If you have a difficult buyer or somebody that's nervous about buying, be on the same page. Just don't let us try to figure it out. If you know it up front, if you have any sort of intuition of what's going on with them, have a conversation with your lenders. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure that you guys can walk them through the way that they need to be walked through. And it's always good to talk out loud with somebody else. We're partners with you, so help us out. All
right, I'm going to give Amy some more work here. I think you guys, those last two slides, I think you should combine all that stuff into one flyer. And everybody can email you guys. There's the email up there.
Sounds good.
And get that done. I think it's great. I want it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Amy, send
I'll
it.
take it too.
All right, we'll do. I'll talk to her about it. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, good stuff. All right, we're going to jump into our 3-pack. A little bit of a review from last year, but I thought last year with our team, we went through like 8 to 9 different summer marketing strategies. And we as a team, we tried some of them out. And so this year, I'm just going to throw out 3 ideas that were successful and really got some traction for people.
Nice. Yep.
So summer marketing strategies. So first one, I love, we gotta be a little bit more creative on social media. And so I love this Beat the Heat. Come up with a different name, social media featured home campaign. I like, what you said earlier, Todd, I always would do that with clients. Here is a featured home in your market, the best value on the property. Let's jump in the car and let's go see it.
Yep.
But find, people, I'm just telling you, people just love anything on social media that's showing homes, whether they're home tours or whatever the case is. People just they eat that up. So go through the MLS, find listings that have got incredible backyards that will help keep people cool, like amazing pools and covered patios and homes that's got big giant shady trees and mister systems. And then find them, whether you're going to do a weekly one, a daily one. I would, if it were me, I would probably do a weekly one and find that one day. And then maybe if the house is vacant, make arrangements with that agent to go out there and do some video. But I think it'd be a great thing if every single week you're on your Facebook page or Instagram or wherever wherever your social media presence is, do a featured home. But always, if you're going to post, offer to show them the home. Hey, check out this home. It's amazing.
Yep.
Who wants to go see it?
And that's the thing. You're trying to get them to come to the position that they're unhappy with the property they're in right now. That's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to share with them some really cool things that get them to think about, well, that would be. I'd like to have that backyard. But here's a broker thing.
Or I would like to have a pool because it's really hot, and I'm looking at my backyard and there's no pool.
Yeah, there you go. But here's a broker thing. Be very, very careful about reposting other agents' properties without written permission from the agent.
I can't take it from the MLS.
No, you know that already, but that's pretty good. No. In fact, you can, the only thing you could potentially do would be forward somebody else's listing to social wise. But if you're going to go out and you'd like to do it, you'd like to video somebody's house, just ask for permission to be able to share the video online, and ask it up front. Of course, you don't have to show them the video. Just tell them, hey, listen, can I do that? But that's a broker requirement. With the changes from on December 13th of last year, is to make sure that you have permission anytime you're going to start marketing anything that's other. Now, if you showed a bunch of backyards and there was not one specific one and you weren't talking about a specific house, you're good to go. Okay. But when you're sitting there and you're talking about any specific house, then you have to be careful and make sure that you have the broker, whoever not the owner, but the listing agent's permission.
Now, Nick, your backyard, that's a bad mamma jamma.
Yeah,
That's the kind of, I mean, I would be like, dude, I'd want to go jump in that pool and buy that house. That's why you bought the house.
100%. And that's that's to Todd's point. I mean, going through the MLS and pulling some decent pictures, not talking about one specific MLS, but when you do social media marketing, we need to get more intentional in what we're doing. So who's on your social media? Are they people from Phoenix? Are they people back east? Are you on Instagram more? Do you have more people that are following you on Facebook? Let's just assume that you're on Instagram. It's a fantastic opportunity to post carousel photos. So you're posting 15, 20 different backyards, front houses, kitchens, etc. And if you've got it and you're doing it consistently, what better Friday afternoon to go through an agent's post and start looking at these what if scenarios? What if we could afford that house with the backyard of the pool? What if we could be sitting under that shade tree and enjoying the kids playing in the grass? Those are good conversation starters. And now if your demographic is outside of Phoenix, if you're posting that stuff in the summertime and you're getting them to think about the harsh winter that's coming and the blistering snow and all the terribleness, what about coming out to Phoenix? And so you make this really powerful if you think about it for more than just a few seconds. It takes 30 minutes to go through, pull some fun images, write some copy, because you shouldn't be writing the copy. You're going to have AI do that for you. You get two very specific types of posts out there, and you're the person people are looking at Friday afternoons as they're sitting wondering why they're still in the job, still in the house, still in the thing. You're making them second guess that. It's cool stuff you can do on social media without too much time.
I'm going to bring some clients over to your house this Sunday.
We're barbecuing. I got ribs and tri-tip.
Perfect. All right, staycation campaigns. Staycations are huge, and it's that time of year where people are like, hey, where are the best staycation deals? I got to go on the internet. I got to sift through this. And then I got to read all the fine print. What days of the week is that price that I'm staring at good for? So be the source of the best deals. It might take you some time. I definitely use ChatGPT in this, but create a comprehensive list of the best staycation opportunities in Phoenix and maybe even up in Sedona or wherever the case is, and make that a social media campaign. But in this, if I'm going to spend time compiling the list, I would maybe weekly say, hey, the Marriott's got a great one, da-da-da-da-da. But, DM me for the complete list so you can start collecting that information. But it's not only a good way to collect data, and connect with people, but we always say be the source of the source. And I would love this. I would absolutely love this. Here's a list of all the places, the deals, what days of the week am I getting what price, and their phone number.
That absolutely. Who's really a fantastic person to help you compile that flyer
Nick.
would be Leslie Del Maestro over at American
That's exactly
Title.
what I was going to say.
Leslie is my
Not me,
go-to
Leslie.
person, my wife's go-to person when it comes to having to have, things of that nature, flyers. Like I called her once because I saw it many, many months ago, and I said, "Hey, Leslie, you have that thing about those underground speakeasy places, right?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Well, could you send that to me?" She goes, "Oh yeah." And like 20 minutes later, I had it in my text. And do you know how long it would have taken me to go online, even with ChatGPT, and find all the different, So, okay, to your point, these staycation things are amazing, and they're even amazing for you and I as realtors to get out with our wives and break the monotony of the 110-degree heat too. But just imagine that anything that we're feeling, if we can build into that you think the consumers are feeling, you can build into that flyer. But Mike, to your point, you have to have the action item of coming back to you, or the link, or the button, or the something.
Well, you've got to be consistent in what you're posting so that they go back to your social media looking for the information. Leslie, and we're talking about Leslie no matter if Ron was on the
here or not,
podcast or
right.
well.
Oh,
Leslie,
Ron, you're here.
Leslie does one of the best jobs of this
No,
across
she
the board.
does.
No
She
takeaway
nails
from
it.
any other reps, but she's great at that. When I think, as soon as I saw that number 2, I knew you were going to say it because that was the first person that I thought about.
Yeah.
She has made it where we have to think about her when we have these conversations. You, as a realtor, should be doing the same thing with your social media. When someone talks about whatever, staycations, real estate, anything that you can speak intelligently on, when they're having a conversation with someone and you're not in the room, your name should be mentioned, and that's how you know you're winning.
Now, I hadn't really thought about this, so I mean, you can get very creative with ideas. But what if you offered some sort of staycation, giveaway that's branded to your business, that you're gonna, someone's gonna go do a staycation. They say, "Thanks for that list, Todd," and you're like, "Hey, I got this staycation package. Whether it's a small little cooler with some branded water bottles, and for Nick, get some floaties with my brand on it."
Are you doing it to collect names for resoliciting them for real estate, or are you doing it just to have the giveaway?
No, I'm not talking about a prize.
Okay.
I'm just saying, hey, you offer the staycation, comprehensive list, and people go, yeah, I want that, and then now you're talking with them, say, hey, man, I got this great gift for you if you're gonna go jump on this, and
So you'd give the gift to anybody that contacted with you.
Yeah, of course,
That's
yeah,
great. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I love that.
All right, I'm going to do the broker talk for Todd this time. If you're going to do any kind of giveaway or game of chance, please have a conversation with your broker before you do that.
Right.
Yeah, just fun like stuff
Anything
like
to
that.
solicit consumers that you're going to recontact. It's against
You
law.
guys are no fun.
No, absolutely not.
All right, start planning your back to school campaign. This is the one that you don't want to wait for the last second, and and as far as part of all of our efforts to engage in cause marketing. People love this back to school stuff. It is a great way for you not only to connect with your sphere of influence and your community, but a great way to show that you care about your community. So right now, find a school to partner with, and what is it that they need for next fall? Do they need backpacks? Do they need notebooks, or whatever it is? And then start your social media campaign. But my thought with this is starting now is document the entire process. Get behind the camera and say, hey, I'm starting this. Who's got some schools that maybe might need stuff, and get people to engage into suggestions and stuff that. And then and this is when somebody raises their hand and says, yeah, I would like to donate 10 backpacks to your back to school campaign. Offer to pick them up. You could set it up so that they could buy them through Amazon and have it delivered to you, which is a great option if they're in Nebraska. But if they're local, this is just offer to go pick them up, spend some time with them, and break bread or break bottles or whatever.
I love the document thing. I think that's fantastic. Right now, boosters, people that have kids that play sports, whether you're in city leagues or you're, and now getting ready to go into school. Hey, everybody remember, back in Chandler, they go to school July, like right away in July. Their summer's almost over. Yep. And, most of us, we think August or maybe even late August, early September. Not so here in Arizona. These kids are on a modified year-round plan, and some of the schools start really super early, like July 4th weekend, right after that. So now is not too late at all. Mike, this was one of the most timely things, that we've posted, in a while for the week coming up or the time period coming up. But when you're documenting, if your child goes to that elementary school, document your child. Bring your child into it. Have the child go up and knock on doors with you, saying, hey, my daughter goes to here. Let your daughter see you do that. You're going to build the next generation of contributors to the country and to the schools and, givers. But what a great idea. This one I can totally attach. My kids are, too old now, of course, but so I've disconnected from this as a real estate agent. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and you brought it up. I'm like, oh, hello. Mm-hmm. Perfect timing.
Any broker rules I need to consider on this one?
I'm not a broker. Todd is. I just, I regurgitate what I hear Todd say. No, I think you're good here, buddy. But I do agree. Todd is 100% right. So West USA through West USA Cares has been doing back-to-school drives for the last 10, 15 years. We have seen it start in June or July, and then it started in June, then it started in late May. Now we're starting these processes, these conversations in April because the schools need this stuff because they are going back to school earlier. So it's starting earlier, which is actually a great opportunity for realtors to get in front of it. Now you can start this conversation as soon as it starts to get warm again, and you can start posting on your social media. Again, documentation is huge. People love to watch from the beginning of the process through the collection and all the people, and then the end and the delivery. They love that warm story. If you're not sure where to start, you don't want to take this on by yourself, your office is doing it right now, literally. Reach out to your branch manager, have a conversation. They're collecting things for schools. You can jump on that. You can reach out to your sphere of influence and let them know with West USA Cares, you're collecting for X, Y, and Z drive for the summertime. And you can just help tag along with what West USA is already doing.
All righty. Well, there you go, guys. That's
That
our
was awesome.
3-pack. Get
good
going
one.
for the summer. Do something. Just do something.
Yeah, do something, even if it's wrong. Then call your broker. No, just kidding.
All right. Well, we are excited. Next, we've got Ron Quain from American Title in the studio this morning. Ron, good morning. And well, this is your first. I've been doing this for 12 some odd years.
Oh, we've had him on before.
Have we ever had you
Yes.
on?
Nope. This is my first time.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I
it
thought.
isn't. Is
It
it
is.
really?
So I'm a rookie at this. So
Oh my
give me a little
gosh.
grace.
All
All right,
right.
Mike. I owe
Be
you an
nice, Mike.
apology. Sorry about that.
No problem. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
One, just huge shout out to you guys at American Title for everything that you do for West USA and the support that you give our agents and the support you're giving us during our 40-year anniversary and being part of all the festivities and the fun. So we appreciate that.
We are super excited to be a part of that. I mean, we love supporting West USA and all the real estate community in Arizona.
All right, so let's jump into some title stuff. So one day I woke up and FinCEN was a thing, and then I woke up after I got filled out all of this paperwork. FinCEN's not a thing, and then
But it became a thing again.
and then it might become a
But
thing
then it
again,
didn't.
and then what? I mean, real quickly, what is FinCEN? Because there's some people that this could be their first time tuning in, and are we worried that there's going to be some sort of modification to FinCEN that's going to come into our lives?
There's a reasonable chance that it's going to come back. The government has appealed the ruling in Florida, and the Fidelity appealed their ruling where they lost their case, and so that appeals, both of those appeals are like step one, the one where the government did the appeal. There's a pretty good chance they're going to come in soon and ask to have that ruling vacated where the government lost. If that happens, we could see FinCEN come back, with probably some notice in the past with that Corporate Transparency Act where they eventually went away. They gave everybody about 30 days to ramp up to get back to it again, but
So FinCEN's a reporting mechanism,
Yeah,
a
civil
reporting rule for people that are using either cash for acquisitions and or some sort of non-conforming creative financing, correct?
that is correct. And it goes all the way down to seller financing.
Right.
So hard money loans, seller financing,
Yep. Anytime you buy a property and you do it in the name of an LLC or a trust
Or a trust.
any kind of organization, really.
and we partnered with a company called Real Estate Report in the East Coast. They've been doing this same reporting on the East Coast for years. This isn't for sure, and most of the West Coast.
But I think the issue is, from your guys' perspective from the title world, is why is it your responsibility to have me complete all the documentation and all the paperwork?
We are top of the list on the list of people that have to report, and real estate agents are on that list as well if they're handling deeds, and which hopefully none of them are doing that. But there's the fine structure for a title company is pretty horrendous. It's thousands of dollars per transaction that it's not done. That's why you're probably not going to see title companies close escrows without all this being completed prior to closing. It's why when you see flippers, the flippers, probably every single leg of a flip, if they are signed 2 or 3 times, every single one of those legs is going to have to be completed before, as it goes, because you never really know who that last person is. And if it's not done prior to closing, then closings will be delayed.
So even though it's been postponed again, or it got to stay because of the fact of the lawsuits that are out, the escrow service companies are being told and instructed to continue to collect all this information.
They're suggesting that buyers complete the information as part of the closing transaction. If a title and escrow company has to do the work, and if they do choose to do all the work themselves, it's 4 or 5 hours worth of work to get that information is what they're saying the average would be. We weren't in it long enough to really know. We chose to partner with a company on the East Coast that's been doing it for years, and their process, from a title company standpoint, the process for us is maybe 30 minutes by using them, and they do it, and they insure us, and they insure the buyers and sellers that the reporting's done correctly. And they give us a green light that it's okay to close.
So I think the takeaway on it is don't ignore it. Don't necessarily worry and stress about it right now, but pay attention when you hear FinCEN, and because it's likely to come back in some form. We don't know what that form's going to look like.
That's correct. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's kind of like that 8300 form or whatever it's called. That any time that you deposit over $10,000 within a 365-day, the bank has trying to do is eliminate drug money and things of that nature still, or funds being misdirected or redirected into some of these political federal issues. But again, I mean, I have a bunch of LLCs that I have for properties, and I have a couple of businesses that are in them. And I just went to FinCEN and I filled out the stupid BOI. It takes you like 10 minutes. You fill it out, and once you get your number, it's even easier to do the ones that follow. And I guess the end result from people I've talked to about it is they're all afraid that the government's in your stuff. And the reality is the government's already in your stuff. So the reality is if you think that by not reporting to FinCEN that, your LLC and you've got an LLC that owns an LLC that owns an LLC and that ends up being owned by your trust, hence a typical investor, then you better just fill it all out anyway.
All right, let's move along to a lot of change. I mean, fraud is a big problem, and we're seeing some changes into mobile notaries, and people are getting more and more creative on how they're committing fraud and stealing from people. And you're in it. I'm sure you got stories upon stories and upon some good stories. But let's talk about the one change, the mobile notary, why, and then let's get into fraud and what, as agents, would help us to be on the lookout for, what we should be on the lookout for.
The biggest thing from an agent standpoint on seller fraud is if somebody calls you that you've never met, they're asking you to list a piece of land in who knows where, Casa Grande, someplace you don't do business in, somebody you've never met, they got your name from the internet. It's a good idea. I know West USA, I'm pretty sure they have something in their portal to do name checking to make sure
mobile app forward.
Yeah.
Use the tools that you have to ensure that the person you're working with is actually the owner of the property. A lot of these vacant houses, vacant pieces of land, the owners don't live in them. So we send letters to the last known address before we'll close an escrow. We need to get a response back from the actual seller that says, this is me. We don't send it to the property. We don't send it to whoever the P.O. box is. We send it to the county records about who the last known owner was and try to validate who those people are before we actually close the escrows.
So outside of that, I mean, I don't know the person, and I'm now just really, because one thing with Forewarn, a lot of times nothing pops up when you put in a phone number. I think one of those are a lot of these sellers trying to do this without going through title escrow, because that would be a red flag for me. But two, if they're not saying, hey, let's not use title escrow, and I find a buyer, we write, American Title in there. What, outside of that letters, what are the escrow? When I call your escrow officer, I go, I'm not 100% sure about this. Even maybe before I even list it and go to market, I'm not 100% sure. How do we verify anything?
We have other tools that we use, a company called Closing Lock. They have records that go beyond. We enter their names, their social security numbers. If they won't talk to us, if the only way they'll communicate with us is email or text, they won't have a conversation. That's a huge red flag. We won't let them use their own notary. At the very minimum, we use a remote online notary for those type of people. Have you guys heard of a remote online notary? Ron?
No, well, I've heard of it. We were briefly talking about it this morning, so I'm not as familiar with it, but I'm excited to know about it.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about it. When we chose the remote online notary companies that we use, I went through the process of being certified to be able to sign. You go in, they ask you questions like, what car did you own in 1970? And for somebody old like me, for Nick, that was before he was born. So,
My mother's womb.
Exactly. But they ask you things that you're related to, places that you maybe lived, LLCs that you were somehow in contact with, and they ask you 5 questions. You have to get 4 of the 5 correct to be able to sign the documents.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just actually went through that. Another company that we were buying a home through. And I was like, what's this? Why? I said, aren't you going to send a notary to the house? And they're like, oh, no, this is the way we do it now. And I'm like, oh. And then I went through it, and it's exactly what it was. I mean, it said, okay, here's 5 addresses. Did you ever have anything to do with any of these 5 addresses? And one was like when I was like 5. And I'm just sitting there going, well, I almost forgot that.
Yeah, good luck if you're a used car salesman and they ask you about one car that you owned.
Yeah. So then if we're talking about these online notaries, is this kind of where we're going and for just about every type of transaction, or is this a special type of transaction, or should we just expect in the next 5 years that most of our transactions are going to be being conducted online somehow?
I'm still a fan of people coming to my office to sign in front of me. That's our last chance to build a relationship. We enjoy realtors coming to the office as a part of that transaction. It's one last chance to build that referral base for them. But there's so many good reasons to use remote online notary. It's usually less expensive than a mobile notary. From a title company's perspective, the paperwork goes out electronically. It comes back electronically. There's no dots, no lines, no margin errors. The type size is still 10. The notary stamp's in the right place. It's been verified, like we talked about, from a fraud perspective. Our recording then can happen with digitized documents. And we don't get kickbacks because there's a line or a dot in the middle of the page. We don't get kickbacks because it's not size 10 type or larger, and there's a 1/2-inch margin all the way around the document. So it just kind of works in most cases, on all cash deals, you can do that as long as all parties are aware of it and they approve it. Some lenders are a little bit less likely to adopt it. I know I was talking to Justin before he left, and they've adopted remote online notary, and they're using it on the majority of their files where their end purchaser of their loan approves it. VA, I understand, hasn't really adopted it yet. But on conventional loans, at least through Fairway and through several other lenders, it's an approved.
Well, it's a great option. Like we just had a buyer close last week, and they live in Colorado Springs, and he's in the Air Force, and it just was really hard to match schedules, find that mobile notary to do it. And if we had that option just to do it online, that would have been great.
It works there. It works when you're on vacation. You could be in Europe. You can be in Asia. You can be anywhere if you have access to a computer. They won't let you do it yet on a mobile device, I don't think. But if you have a computer with a speaker and a camera, and you can answer those questions and they can verify your identity through that, you can use it anywhere. There are some, if you have not citizen, if you're not a citizen of the United States, there's a very small percentage of those people that are going to qualify to use this.
So we started the conversation with fraud. I just want to make sure that we touch on it a little bit more. We talk about this a lot, so much that most realtors hear it and they just kind of white noise. It's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. Well, it's not until it does. And there's posts. There's posts on the agent forum as of recently as yesterday about agents having issues with their clients getting stuck in a fraud situation. We talk a lot about partnering with very intelligent people who focus on certain things in their world, so you as the realtor don't have to worry about everything. American Title is one of those partners. If you get into a transaction and you're hesitant, concerned, or your spidey senses are going off, you should be reaching out to your American Title rep and having a conversation. They have tools that Ron just talked about that even if your clients are like, you don't want to work with them, you still can leverage what American Title has, have the conversations, bounce the ideas off people who do this every single day. And to Ron's beginning point, if you've never sold land in your life and you get someone that reaches out to you online about helping them sell 40 acres, it's probably a little bit too good to be true. Have more conversations. Use the forewarn. Talk to brokers, but talk to your American Title representatives.
Yeah, and take take that new required deed fraud class. It's an hour long. You can do it online. You can do it live with people. Most live ones have it mixed in with the Firewise and the Arizona Water. And there's a lot of changes in the Arizona Water too that you might want to bring yourself up to speed on. But again, just go do it. Doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, I think for me with fraud, I mean, my business is a little bit different. I'm not getting just strangers. I'm not marketing myself out there where strangers are going to call me, and so forth. So like if that happened, I'd be like, okay, I gotta figure this thing out and go through those steps of how do I verify it. But I have land in cities that I can't even pronounce, and I'm always just worried about like I go to sell it one day and it's already been sold. Like, how do people who own land protect themselves?
Title insurance covers some of that, but with land, because you're getting a standard owner's policy rather than an extended owner's policy, you have to ask for an endorsement. There's a new endorsement that the underwriters are providing. I believe it's $49. It's about $250, and then they will help protect you if your land is. They'll help you get your property back.
Yeah, that's good. There's that Maricopa.gov thing too, where you can go in and put your name in your email on any parcel that you want to be notified on.
Yeah, we need to get that information out.
I will tell you though, because I have all my properties in that. That is a reactive service.
Right. It's an after the fact.
Yeah, it's already done. And what Ron's talking about is it's a proactive process. You're actually entering into these types of things beforehand that kind of helps you in that situation.
Yeah, it still only helps you once the fraud has happened.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It gives you a little bit of extra.
So my thought was, and this could just be not a valid idea, but if I got these pieces of land and I want to try to get ahead of it when something's going down, what if I have one of my other LLCs recorded like a mechanics lien on it or something like that, so that the lien holder gets notified if there's a transaction?
You could do that, but then you cloud title, and what if you are not here anymore to help whoever's having to sell your property for you later?
Okay, all right.
Well, and there's those clouds can also include, think about it. You might own both, but those are separate entities. An LLC is a separate person as far as the law is concerned, even though you own it. And if you put a lien against a property that one of your other LLCs owns, that's another person in the eyes of the state. If you've built if you have any kind of lien protection, or not lien protection, but liability protection, you have to treat each LLC as a truly operating company. Otherwise, it's called an alter ego, and there's no corporate veil.
Oh, my
there
dog
at all.
now has an LLC.
But here's the point. The point is, once you've created that, to Ron's point, you got to go through all the steps to unwind what you did. And number two, you think you own both, so you're just going to throw a lien on there for $5,000. You could put yourself in a situation that to close that deal, your other company is actually going to have to pay that $5,000. And so in order to release that lien, which could happen if the person's not around.
But might be a better deal than just waking up one day and not owning the land anymore.
You have to take that into consideration and weigh the differences.
All right.
And if your first or the LLC that put the lien against it, if it gets foreclosed on or it gets sued, that's an asset of that LLC. And so they could be a $5,000
I
real
gotcha.
lien that you got to pay somebody else.
All right, so let's talk. Let's get back to talking about mobile notaries and now what people need to get used to when your clients are going to have a mobile notary show up to their house. They're going to fingerprinting is going to be now a requirement.
Fingerprinting, I think it's September, but most title companies are starting to do it now. It's something that's done. This is new to the state of Arizona, or relatively new. Just like getting fingerprinted if you're a real estate agent, that was done 40 years ago, and it's getting done again now. The notary books forever have had a place for a fingerprint stamp in the notary books. So when you're signing it, you just are going to have to do a fingerprint. The good news is the ink now is pretty, you can do this and it goes away. You can rub your fingers together and it goes away. And yet it provides one, and that kind of helps with the fraud and other things as well. After the fact, if they come back to the notary and ask who did it, they'll have a fingerprint that they can use for the signer. And if it's not the person that actually owned the property, then that's one more piece of evidence when they're trying to get things.
Should a
away.
person worry about those new digital pads? In other words, you might put your thumb in or fingers in on a digital pad, and the problem I would think is now we're concerned about who now has our digital fingerprints.
Well, like you said before, I think they pretty much know everything about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about does this include if I am a buyer and I just show up to the American Title office to actually sign in front of the notary at your office? Am I going to be required to have fingerprinting done as well?
Anytime you use a notary.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only exception to that is if you're using remote online notary, they don't require it for that service.
But they have the video.
They have the video
Right.
of you online. They have,
Yeah.
you've answered those 5 questions. You've done the homework. It's probably more secure than having a fingerprint.
Just a shout out on the land thing, Mike, is anytime you're concerned with who the person is on the other side, always ask them to FaceTime with you or to Zoom with you so that you can actually get a recording of your face. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to go, oh, yeah, I can't do that, because they don't want to have their actual face recorded, because everything else is just, fake. So
We talked about something real quick. I just want to give a quick heads up. It was the Maricopa Title Alert is what that system was called that we were talking about. I put it in the chat because we had people asking about it.
Nice.
So the link is in the chat for anybody who wants to get themselves signed up for that ASAP.
Perfect.
Yeah, and when you sign up for that, you have to use the name that you use to buy the property that's actually entitled. So if it's a trust or an LLC, you would want to use that and do your own personal name as well, and whatever email address you want to use.
All right. So you've been at this a while.
A day or two.
I know that you've seen real estate evolve, and kind of love to get your thoughts on the process and what changes have we seen over the last couple of years. But more importantly, the conversations that you and your team are having about the future, about where real estate's going or where title and escrow is going. What are some of those conversations look like? And because you guys seem to, of course you do. You know stuff before we know stuff, because you operate at a completely different level. I'm out selling homes. I'm not out monitoring lawsuits and claims and things like that.
We've seen a lot of changes in the 20 years I've been doing title insurance. Prior to that, I had 20 years of real estate experience. So I've done a little bit of all of it over the years, but our business is your business. Our business is still people business, whether it's in front of them face-to-face or digitally or over a Zoom call. I think we're seeing more and more, especially the younger generation, that would rather get a text than have a conversation. That's probably the biggest change, our ability to communicate with buyers, sellers, and our real estate partners, for lack of a better word, that, it's gotten different. The business is different, and how we approach people is different. That's the biggest change I think I've seen. And going forward, I think I don't think it's going to back up and go backwards. I think we're going to continue seeing more of the remote online notary, more of in our business, everybody has a portal. Every lender we work with, you have to log into a portal,
It drives me nuts.
upload things. It's not like it's one consistent place. It'd be, in a best case scenario, American Land Association or the Mortgage Brokers Association would create a portal that everybody had to use. And you'd go to one place, pick and choose who you're working with, and upload your things there. And maybe at some point that would be a wish. If I won't be around to see it, but that would be something that would make most people's lives a lot easier. Remembering 1,000 passwords.
Don't give me. It drives me nuts.
Yeah,
Mike doesn't have to remember 1,000. He has one that he uses for everything. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In case you want to try to log in anything, Mike has access
Mike
to.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, as we wrap up, we appreciate your time. What do we need to know for agents that maybe have not used American Title before? What do we need to know? What sets you guys apart? Obviously, the big one is your long-standing relationship and partnership with West USA. I think speaks volumes. But what is it that you guys? Well, not what you guys do. We know what you guys do. But what is it that you want agents to know about American Title, especially those that have yet to take you out for a spin?
One of the best things about American Title is the people that I get to work with every day. I work with amazing people. Some of these people were escrow officers when I was doing real estate, and which is amazing to have those people that I get to work with. We have smart, talented people that we work with. Jim and I both say we're successful in spite of us. So,
Amen.
that's probably it. Our talent, the people that we have working, our account managers from the marketing standpoint, and our escrow staff, our title department, they're just the best that we can get. And we appreciate them every day.
All righty, Ron, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's Ron Quain with American Title. We're going to leave everybody with the quote of the day. The best clients often come from the most unexpected conversations.
That's the truth.
That's true. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us. Go out and sell a home.